So go on, Kurt. You've been doing the intro, haven't you? You've been streaming. I'm joking. Hello, everyone. Go on then. I'll just sit in the back.
There's 23 people in the chat. First of all, John Tino's been cancelled. Second of all, welcome everyone. New FPL season's here, and the 4 experts of the universe are here to talk you through it. My name is Kurt. We're also joined by Jay, who is back from his FPL slumber, FPL Nim, who likes shaven Kurt, and New Angle Brett. Now give it back to Jay for an actual intro.
To be honest, that was a pretty good intro. I'm just going to do the boring stuff now, going before I hand it over to Nim. Please do make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. We did get a new subscriber whilst we were setting everything up, and like a fool, I've forgotten his name, so apologies.
Lucas something.
But thank you for subscribing, and I will pass over to Nim to get the proceedings underway.
Yeah, thanks, Jay, and welcome everyone to the stream. FPL is back quicker than a flash. The game is now officially open and we can tinker, but we've not had any confirmed fixtures yet. I think that'll be tomorrow by reports, but we'll have to wait and see. So if you are new here, thank you so much to those of you who are subscribing already, but please do subscribe if you are new. We're 4 FPL YouTubers who are enthusiastic about the game, and we're often joined by guests on this channel.
And sound effects.
Sorry.
He really is frisky tonight, Meg.
Yep. We're often joined by some guests from the community, so do get involved. You never know, you might end up on the FPL WildCats. Thank you for joining us, and please do get those questions in the chat and we will get around to them definitely. But I think we'll start by just going around each of us and see how we're feeling about the up and coming season before we crack on with the questions. So what do you think, guys? Brett, how are you feeling about the new season, buddy?
Hey guys, yeah, fairly positive, you know. After such a disaster last year, it's finally nice for that to be over and just to start looking forward to a fresh season. There's definitely a little bit of dread as well that it could go as bad as last year. You know, it's like when you've had a really bad season, you don't want that to happen again. So I hope things turn around a bit this season for me. But overall, yeah, pretty positive, you know. Haven't spent too much time tinkering with my team just yet. I am kind of waiting for the fixtures to come out. So I'm sort of just sticking towards like the must-haves for now, you know, like trying to decide which big hitters to go for: Salah, Aubameyang, Fernandes, De Bruyne, you know, trying to build my team around those kind of players. And I think the fixtures will help that with the budget options, you know. But yeah, it's good to be back, you know, and hopefully it goes better this season.
And Kurt, what about yourself? How are you feeling? We've already had some people asking in the chat how the online poker game is going based on your sunglasses. How are you feeling about the FPL season?
Well, relatively positively, actually. It's as much as people will complain, and I've been one of them, some of the people rinsing content, it's quite nice actually just to start off with no fixtures, because I quite often, and I'm sure most people fall into the trap of when the game's released with the fixtures, I'll look at game week 1 to game week 5. I'll look at early doors. I want to start the season smashing. There's no fixtures, so I'm looking at the entire season, how the teams have performed in recent times, looking at players' stats. it's been a nice breath of fresh air. And now I feel like I've actually probably going to start the season. Well, obviously there will be changes to the team because you don't really want to have if you've got a cheaper back line, you don't want to have, let's say, Burnley start. I've got Eric Peters, Luke Ayling, Connor Cody. If they're all starting away against some of the bigger teams, United, City, Spurs, you don't particularly want to be going with that sort of back line, but you want to also keep players throughout the season, players that maybe will earn you some money, players that you know are going to score big and potentially could rise in price and struggle to get back in. So I quite like it. It's made me feel quite positive because now I've actually looked at the game as a whole rather than just the start. And quite often when I look at it at the start, and I've got lucky last season that I started off relatively okay. In previous seasons, I've started off all right, then a couple of injuries, and I'm in game week 5, and all of a sudden I'm not planning on playing the wild card, but I need to play the wild card because I've not got very good players in. Players are out of form. The good game weeks have gone, and now I've got essentially like a Burnley side that's facing 3 big clubs in a row. This time it's more of I'm looking at what they can do in the season, and it's quite nice. And also a lot of interesting position changes. So I've been enjoying looking at them and trying to get them into the team.
Cool. That's yeah, it's a good point, buddy. Jay, what are you feeling about the new season? You raring to go?
It's time for redemption. It's time for redemption after last season. I had a shocker. Ooh. So I'm really trying to learn from my mistakes from last season. And I do also like the fact that there's no fixtures because, like Kurt said, I think you're not actually just focused on, okay, first 5 game weeks. Let's absolutely smash that and then wildcard out. Which I think I might try and avoid as a tactic in general when the fixtures do come out, because I think it may be wiser to keep the wild card for later on. So I'm excited. Unfortunately, there's a lot of expensive players that I want, which makes it very difficult to build the perfect team, but I'm sure I'll get my head around it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a little bit I'm on the fence. I'm extremely excited. I'm also feeling like there hasn't been much of a break since the last season. So I'm feeling a little bit I hope I'm not too fatigued going into this season. Like haven't had a chance to properly chill yet. But I'm excited. I'm I know as soon as, that game week 1 starts approaching, I'll be on that and I'll be raring to go. So yep, just a couple of shout outs. We've got Capkin Gaming in the chat. Hey Capkin and Jason Elite FPL. Welcome guys, welcome everybody. So I will crack on with our questions. Do make sure you get some more questions in the chat, guys. Brett will keep them noted down for us. So at FPL Mourinho asks, is Souček good enough for a 4th spot in midfield, or does his price point cause a future problem? So, Jay, what do you think? Souček, 4th spot midfielder. Will you be considering him?
I mean, he's definitely under consideration. I think a lot of people are asking why, because he didn't score that many in the Premier League, but he has a good goal scoring record from previously in his career, and he was quite a good goal threat after Project Restart. So I definitely think he's one of those players that's priced quite kindly for what he could potentially become in the Premier League. But that 5 million price mark for a 4th midfielder is tricky, because if you do suddenly find that you need that 6.5 million midfielder or a 7 million fielder that is doing well, playing really well, it's going to be difficult without at least 2 transfers to upgrade your 4th midfielder. And I think generally, if you can afford him as a 5th midfielder, that's kind of the perfect spot for him. But at this stage of the season, you probably only want to be spending 4.5 in that area, unless you're committing to a 5-man midfield. So I do think his price point is a bit tricky, but I do like him as an option.
Yeah, I agreed. Kurt, what were your thoughts on Souček as a 4th spot?
Personally, I really like him. He's my 4th midfielder. I think, granted, West Ham are an absolute toilet bowl of nothing sometimes, but on other times they have ripped teams apart. Granted, it's been teams that are already relegated, nothing to play for, and have been some of the worst Premier League players to ever grace the earth. Norwich, but at the same time, he's my 4th midfielder, and I don't really look into the fact of if you need that player is performing a 6.5 or 7. If I need that player, I'll take a -4 if he's that good. the end of the day, for £5 million, he'll be playing constantly. Granted, yeah, maybe you look at the fact of maybe he didn't score as much as people liked him, but 1,000 minutes for 3 goals. He plays the entirety of the season. He's getting 9 goals by that stat, and potentially 10. Double figures in goals for a midfielder that's 5 million, and we know can score more. Was unlucky, probably not, and only score 3. I don't think it's too bad. The obvious problem is that if it was 5 million in a better club, it'd walk into anyone's team. But I think it's because it's West Ham, it's a bit of a problem. But I don't look into price too much. I think what can they do in the season? And I think for 5 million, it's a bargain, an absolute bargain. So I'm probably going to keep him in for a long time. Well, depending on fixtures, game week.
I was going to say,
But
roll on
even
to
then-
next week when Kurt comes on and says, "Oh my God, West Ham have United and City and Liverpool
Even then,
in the first
he's
3
not
weeks."
in the position where if he was 6.5 million, let's say, and he was good for 6.5 million. If then he had game week 1, Man United, game week 2, Man City, you're thinking, "Oh, I can't really afford to have that on my bench. I need to transfer him out." At 5 million, if he's got one bad game week and then goes into a few good run of games after that, and games where you think you can get something from, 5 million is not bad to have on your bench. 6.5, 7 million is bad to sit on your bench every week. 5 million for a couple of games whilst he rides out the tougher opposition, that's not bad. That's doable.
Brett, what are your thoughts on Soucek?
I don't have too many, to be honest. I haven't really done enough looking into Soucek. I know that he's a popular option. I think my instinct, he doesn't fill me with that much confidence, to be honest. If I was playing him every week, a £5 million midfielder, I wouldn't look at my team and think, "Oh, I feel confident he's going to do me a job," you know? When I just had a quick browse at the 5 million options, if we're talking strictly 5 million, he's probably the outstanding pick. There's very little at 5 million that I can see in midfield. So that's a positive. And look, he got a couple of goals after the break, after the lockdown, you know? So yeah, I mean, I find it hard to believe that he would be the 4th midfielder in a team. You know, I can understand him being a 5th maybe. There's so many good midfielders that means he's only got 3 decent midfielders there if that's going to be his 4th, you know. So that's a bit of a surprise. I could see him more as a 5th midfielder than I could as a 4th. But yeah, I'm not sold on him personally. But he's the best of the 5 millions for sure. But you know, for 0.5 million more this Saka at Arsenal,
he's
I
in
quite
my
like
team.
that. You know,
he's in my team.
Yeah,
I was really happy to see he stayed in the 5s because I was like, he was like one of my first names in the team sheet. Like, obviously with Aubameyang being as expensive as he is, I mean, you know, still a way into the Arsenal team that doesn't feel too scary, you know, at that point.
So you're not excited about Aubameyang, midfielder?
Not that price.
Because the thing is, his goal scoring exploits, if you convert that to midfield, he'd have been on about 230 points. I'm very excited by Aubameyang.
He was the first pick in my team. Just for the pure fact of, doesn't matter about position or price. I'm thinking, if Arsenal get a clean sheet, which, let's be honest, that happens once or twice a season, or once or twice an actual 10-year period, he gets a clean sheet for that. His goals, he's not getting 4 points, he's getting 5 points. With the extra points for goals and the extra points for clean sheets, that could mean more chance of bonus points.
Yeah.
Well, I think in general, if you look at his stats for last season, you had you look at the amount of goals he scored, you had a point on for every one of those goals, and all of a sudden the points he's getting is ridiculous. Arsenal aren't the best team, and they need improving in every single area possible. Aubameyang at 12 million, I think, is a really good price considering he's a midfielder.
Who got the assist figured it out at 230 points he would have got last season if he was a mid.
Yeah,
so
same,
that makes him, is that 3rd or 4th highest scoring player in the... Let me quickly check.
It makes him 3rd. It would have been De Bruyne,
Salah, then him.
Alba, then Mane.
Yeah. So it would have made him the 3rd highest scoring player. Yeah. So if you don't think De Bruyne or Salah's going to keep scoring to that amount, Aubameyang's been pretty consistent with the amount of points he's been scoring.
Aubameyang, so yeah, so it was So if you versus Salah and Aubameyang on the Fantasy Football Scout website, so do go check them out. They're our sponsors. 19 goals for Salah, 22 for Aubameyang. Expected XG 19.15 for Salah and 14.75 for Aubameyang. And big chances created 29 for Salah, 27 for Aubameyang. So, you know, they're pretty close. I think it's not that it wasn't an either or when I brought it up. Just to clarify that, it was just like it's you know, I think it's nice to have a cheap option as well from Arsenal, that I feel fairly confident in the fact that I feel like Saka will be really good this season for that price point. 5.5 is ridiculous for him. Like, he was so involved last season, and if he still continues to play at that pace, he's only going to get better, and there's no way he's staying at 5.5.
What position did he play, though?
My only worry is obviously the signing of Willian.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Fits in, yeah. But that is.
I find it hard to believe that Arteta would sign a 32-year-old Willian and then
to replace Saka.
Arguably our best player last season, bar Aubameyang. Yeah. Like, Saka was a revelation last season.
I know, he was amazing.
If he plays at 5.5, like, I can see the appeal with Souček, but
yeah.
What worries me is that it was just a bit of a. I don't want to say it was a fluke that he scored 3 goals after lockdown, but it could be like another Kurtyoy, you know, who like for Watford, he had like 7 game weeks where he like scored loads of goals, and then he just went back to being like a defensive midfielder, and that was that. Like, Kurtyoy never scored again. Like, I don't know, I just wouldn't feel that comfortable with a defensive mid as my 4th midfielder, but you know, I could be wrong. I can see the appeal.
People
is more appealing to me.
Yeah, people saying in the chat that Willian's like rumored to be playing that central midfielder spot, which I can see, you know, with us not with the whole Ozil situation, and that would still free up Saka, you know. So
I think it's great at 5 point. Like, I thought he'd come in about 6 or 6.5. So
yeah,
5.5 for him if he plays could be a bargain. Yeah, I'm quite excited about that.
Cool. Okay. The @GreatDelmondo, what a great name, by the way. That is a great handle. Would like to know, with so many premium midfielders, who do you pick as strikers? Is this season the season of 4-5-1? So, Kurt, tell @GreatDelmondo what your thoughts are on whether, you know, who we should be picking as strikers with so many premiums in midfield.
Well, I've considered, and I've played around with teams quite a bit.
You're like Horatio there with your glasses.
I've got a picture on my phone. I'll read out. I've considered going 5 premium midfielders with 1 striker. So the way it would go. So my team is currently, I'd say, I've got 3 big midfielders: Aubameyang, Sterling, and Fernandes. I've got Werner and Jimenez up front. So I think it's not time to get 3 big strikers. I think the fact that the highest price striker is 10.5 as well says it all. Normally, strikers are thinking, oh, big money, what striker going to get? Now it's what midfielder / defender are going to get, because they're getting priced out. And to be honest, the 3 at 10 million, Aguero will get rotated. Kane hasn't looked good in quite a while. Vardy at 10 million is a bit of a...
Whoa. But did you just say Aguero hasn't looked good for quite some time?
No, I said Aguero will get rotated.
Okay.
Aguero's been rotated for the past 3 or 4 years.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry. And then Vardy, I think it's too expensive.
Nim saw red there.
We nearly had a 50 cups there.
Thank goodness I've shaved, otherwise there would have been a band.
Yeah, I mean,
but then
there might
also
have been a wildcat opening right there.
The further you look down, Werner I think is good at 9.5, and I think pretty assured to start. Firmino's too expensive. Jesus too expensive. Martial 9 as a striker doesn't turn me on. Lacazette 8.5, not guaranteed to return. Ings a bit too expensive. Jimenez, I'd say just about. Yeah, Richarlison's far too expensive, about 8 million too expensive for his price, and his price is 8 million. Abraham won't play. Giroud won't play. Calvert-Lewin isn't too good, and he's down to 6.5. And that's me being relatively lenient. I could go even stricter and say a lot of those are pants, which I probably will do at some point. But yeah, I think it's time to look at the midfield as a real thing. If I was to even put even more money in the midfield and potentially get rid of a fourth or fifth midfielder, Jimenez would go to another 4.5 or £5 million striker that's going to play occasionally. Bang those midfielders in, because you can get a decent team getting four premium midfielders with one sort of 8.5, 8 million midfielder, and then just put money elsewhere. So I'd say, yeah, it's time to consider one striker. One striker you know who's going to play, potentially even a Jimenez at 8.5. You know he's going to play majority of the season. You know what you're going to get. He's a consistent performer. You look at the last 2 seasons, his goals and assists have pretty averaged out. He got 24 goals and assists last season. He got 23 the season before. So you know what you're going to get with him. 181 the first season, 194 in the second. Go with someone like that. 2 cheap strikers on the bench. They're not going to, unless, and if Jimenez gets injured or suspended, you're going to replace him. So I'd say go with one at the top. At the moment, I'm currently 2 up top, but that will change. I'm not convinced on going 2 strikers. I want more in the midfield. The midfield is the exciting part this season.
Yeah. Jay, what's your thoughts on 4-5-1?
Well, before most seasons, I try and figure out what the optimal formation is, and then I usually get it wrong. So for me, it's more about building a team that you know you can change and mould into what you need to as the season progresses. So I think a big fault I had last season is I went big in defence, because there were defenders the season before that had done very well, and it looked like the value was in defence. And then, of course, Liverpool had that start where they didn't get many clean sheets. So I just feel like, for me, the 3-4-3 just leaves me in a situation where every single player is one move away. So I can bring in, say, your Timo Werner at striker. I can bring in, say, a 6.5 million striker. It's not too hard to make Timo Werner into Aguero this season with the current pricing, or Kane, if necessary. Have 2 big hitters in midfield, which means you pretty much have access to any midfielder. Maybe the third midfielder is a 7 million and 8 million. Maybe a Ziyech or something like that, which again is easy to move to someone else. And then, of course, Trent is probably the one player that is just walking into my side no matter what. So that's the most expensive defender in the game. And then probably cheap defenders elsewhere, because for me, upgrading a defender seems the simplest thing to do with moving my cash around a bit. So I wouldn't say there's any perfect formation. I think every season is different, and I think we've generally fallen into the trap of going off of one season and then seeing the prices in the new season and going, this is the formation we have to go with. And then 3-4 game weeks in, it's all gone to pot.
Yeah. Brett, what are your thoughts, buddy?
Can you just repeat the question? Is it just about forwards this season? Or?
Yes, so many premium midfielders. Who do you pick as strikers? Is this season the season of 4-5-1?
Yeah, it's a good question. In the time that I've been sort of tinkering myself, almost all of my drafts have been 4-5-1 actually, and it's whether I go a bit more expensive with that one slot and go for Werner, like Kurt said, because he's a player that I've been a fan of for quite a while actually.
Yeah, same.
Just quite a natural goal scorer, so. He does interest me, and for the reasons Jay said as well, if you've got that one expensive striker up front, at least then it is easier to maneuver to the likes of Aguero or Martial, that kind of thing. Alternatively, I go a lot cheaper than Bernie. There's temptation to go $1 million down to Ings. I'd probably go Ings over Jimenez personally, or go even further down. I quite like Antonio at 6.5, but I got a bit of a thing with Mitrovic. I had such a good time with him when 2 seasons ago when I started the season with him, and he's 6 million. And he's just an outright goal scorer for Fulham. So I quite like him at 6, and then that allows me to kind of put more money elsewhere, So
he would be your forward, your main man.
For the budget ones, for sure. Yeah, I'm not saying I would definitely go him over Werner, for example. Like, there's a big difference in money there.
Yeah.
But he's the budget forward that I like. If I'm going budget, then he's the man that I would go for, I think. I'm looking at the strikers and I'm thinking, it's not that many that I'm not interested in, really.
To be honest, they've left us really slim this season, haven't they?
Count them on both hands, the amount of strikers that look like a really good option. Quite often you see there's quite a few expensive ones, you think, oh, I like them. Then you go to the bracket down between 9 million and 7 million, thinking, oh, I like them. And
Yeah.
the cheap ones, and there's a couple of even really cheap ones that potentially could get played. This year,
Mm.
there's 4.5 million strikers. That just about says it all.
Yeah.
Normally, there's loads of cheap ones. There's a bit more. We're
Yeah.
lacking in depth and quality up front. So I think
It's
we
not.
can't go 3 up top.
They've
I
not
think
really
that's a-
given us a lot of room to have a balanced squad, I think,
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
They have squeezed this, you know, it's like if anyone's been playing Four Guys, I feel a bit like getting squeezed into those gates, you know, so that we all have to try and work our way through the fastest. And that's exactly how it feels with FPL this year. A couple of shout outs. We've got Julian in the chat. He's from Norway, so welcome, Julian. And we have some regulars as well. Brian's in the chat. We've got some peeps from Bangladesh as well. So welcome to you too. Please do like and subscribe, guys, if you're enjoying the content. And we are all FPL YouTubers as well who have our own channels. So make sure you go and check out the links in the description below and check out those channels too. So I've got another one here from at FPL Michelle. She asks Ziyech over Werner and Fernandez over Greenwood. So I guess they're the two different ones she's considering for her team. So Brett, what's your thoughts on Ziyech over Werner and Fernandez over Greenwood? Which one out of each of those would you go for?
Yeah, well, they're all players in my consideration. I think with Ziyech at 8 million, he's still a bit of an unknown in the Premier League. Like I think he's such a talent, but is he as much of a goal threat as Pulisic for 0.5 more? You know, I'm not sold on his goal scoring exploits, Ziyech. I'd have to look at his kind of shots inside the box, because what I've seen from him, he can whip in really good crosses and, you know, long range passes. But is he going to be a goal threat? That's what kind of worries me about him. So I just like with Werner, I can't sit here and say I've watched the German league for years and years and I've watched Werner play. So it is as basic as looking at like his goal scoring record, and he's got like 75 goals in like 120 games or something. And, you know, he's always been like quite a natural goal scorer. So I definitely prefer Werner to Ziyech, I think. And what I do like about Werner as well is that you kind of there's I know there's competition with Abraham and Giroud, but you know he's definitely going to be the main man up front for them. And Ziyech has a lot more competition in midfield, I think. So yeah, Werner over Ziyech for me, for sure. But I get that it's tricky, because then I guess the person asking the question has to go for Greenwood or something instead, is it? Or rather than Fernandez?
No. Yeah, possibly. It's probably like Ziyech and Fernandez versus Greenwood and Werner, I would have thought. But I mean, maybe she's just asking generally which one to go with, and then she'll build her team around
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I like both pairings, you know, because to go without Fernandez is then a bit of a concern, you know.
Yeah.
And like such a reliable, always involved in everything that Man United do. So yeah, Ziyech is a bit of an unknown, you know. He could do really well. I like him as a player. I think he's such a talent. I'm just not sure if it's going to convert into a lot of FPL points. So provided, I mean, if Sancho signs, that would worry me a little bit for Greenwood. But if he doesn't, like, Greenwood's a bit of a no-brainer at 7.5, really. You know, he's 2 million cheaper than Rashford. I was happier with Greenwood than I was with Rashford last season for 5 million cheaper up front. Even if they were priced the same, I still felt more confident in Greenwood than Rashford in those last, like, 10 game weeks.
Yeah, for
and I'd be the same again. If I know he's starting every game, I'd happily spend 2 million less on him and have him over Rashford, you know? So I definitely like Greenwood as an option too. And he's in my thoughts. So I'd say out of the four, Ziyech is the one that I'm probably least considering. I don't think I can see him.
Just a comment in the chat. And said, why does Kurt look like he's been taken hostage and is about to record his ransom video?
I think he's got like VR there. He's like watching something else with glasses. Whilst
I think he's doing the mannequin challenge personally.
He's doing well
sorry.
not to laugh now. I know he's listening, but he's
Commitment.
So yeah, all good options, but I think Ziyech is the least on my. I can't see myself starting the season with him unless he was like unreal in pre-season or something.
Yeah. Jay, so you've just done 2 videos on your channel about Ziyech and Werner. Can you give us a bit of insight on, whether you would go one over the other or whether you're looking at both of them?
Well, I would have to say Werner stands out
Yeah.
head and shoulders above Ziyech as far as your FPL output is concerned. Because the amount of goals this guy scores, he will get involved with the assists as well. Third highest scoring striker in all of the major leagues. And then Ziyech, while he did have that really good season, 2018-19, where he was in double figures for goals and assists in that Ajax side that managed to get to the semi-finals of the Champions League, there's not that like consistency over every single season with the goal scoring. The assists are there, and there's the potential in a Chelsea side where he will get a lot of assists. But I just think Werner is the safer option, especially in my eyes, the Bundesliga is more of a competitive league than the Eredivisie is. So I would take the stats from the Bundesliga over the Eredivisie anytime, anyway. So I think, even though he is more expensive, Timo Werner is a must. And of course, you have Pulisic at 0.5 million more, who could do very well this season as well, and seems a bit more of a goal threat to me than Ziyech is.
Yeah. Kurt, what are your thoughts on Fernandes over Greenwood or Ziyech over Werner?
Fernandes is no-brainer. Personally, because he's on.
That was so good. Fair play.
If we had never responded, I would have actually.
I know. I actually was getting ready to go like text Jay.
Because it's not darker, it is a bit sleepy. So I've got to keep on coming to me. Otherwise, you have a quite big old discussion.
I'm surprised we haven't got some cool background going on your green screen.
Well, I'm wearing a similar shirt, so I can give you a background.
Okay.
In fact, no, go on. I'll give you a background. So let's give you. Let's be on a beach, but unfortunately,
floating head.
So you can see the chair, and you can. That's it. Everything else goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's continue.
How
Is it like a floating head in space?
How disconcerting will that be though when he sits back and puts the glasses back on again and doesn't move?
What was the question?
So Ziyech over Werner and Fernandes over Greenwood. Thoughts?
Werner over Ziyech for me, because if we're going back to what quite often my default response when it comes to striking a new league, especially this league, is that they are going to they're going to struggle to adapt. You've seen it time and time again. But something with Werner is different in the fact that he's a similar striker, not exactly the same, but similar to Jamie Vardy's, and he's got electric pace. So anything bursting through will get him a few chances. Ziyech could set him up, but I think he's bound to score quite a few this season. So Werner for me, and he'll also, I think, he'll start all the Premier League games. You'll get Tammy Abraham potentially coming on, starting out wide, maybe even Werner starting out wide. Giroud and Tammy will play the European competitions. And when it comes to Fernandes goes over Greenwood just simply because he takes everything at the moment. He doesn't seem to be missing. And granted, Man United embarrassed themselves in the Champions League since the restart. Something like 46 shots and scored 2 goals, and that was a penalty and a penalty. That's good news for Fernandes. That's why he's in my team. If anything, I'd go Rashford over Greenwood because Rashford's more set in stone. They quite clearly are looking for another winger. And I think, personally, like I said, same reason with Aubameyang. Rashford is potentially playing up front, will play like an attacker. He gets those clean sheet points now, and he gets those extra points for scoring a goal. That's where the potentially, I think people were saying last season, Greenwood potentially over Rashford because of the fact I think Greenwood was a forward as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
So now they get the extra points. Rashford is guaranteed playing time.
Is anyone considering both Bruno and Greenwood / Rashford in their teams?
Yeah, that is a temptation because I did say I said last season that I'd be looking at getting triple Man United and potentially the same 3 that I had: Martial, Rashford, and Fernandes. So I'll definitely be getting 2 by the end of the season. Whether it's Martial up top instead of Werner or Jimenez, whether it's Greenwood or Rashford, you've got to have 2. They attack so well, they defend so poorly.
Agreed. Okay. Gayanu says they are considering Trent and Robbo combination and no Salah/Mane. This will enable Aubameyang, KDB, and Aguero for them. Will 2 Liverpool defenders match Salah or Mane? So, go on, Kurt. Let's have another bit of talking head. Tell us. Do you think
Oh, it's knackering, isn't it?
Trent and Robbo, can they cover having Salah or Mane?
So Trent and Robbo instead of having Salah or Mane.
Yeah.
Bit of a risk, and you're tying up 15% of your, or almost 15% of your money in 2 defenders. Let's say Liverpool are no clean sheet. There's nothing else for them. They concede a couple of goals, you're getting 1 point each. And as well as that, yeah, they do get assists. Yeah, they are good going forward. With Salah and with Mane, at any point, a moment of brilliance, a couple of quick skills, a quick shot, quick assist, they're in the points. Whereas you're not going to get that quick sort of chance with Robertson and with Trent Alexander-Arnold. For the season long, potentially yes, but something that I'd probably say no to personally.
Mm-hmm. Jay, thoughts on it?
I mean, the logic is there as long as you don't look at Salah and Mane as captaincy options. Because, of course, it makes more sense to have a floating head in space, to be fair.
It does.
Just move your head around slightly, Kurt.
Just slowly, just...
That's it. That's really good. Perfect.
How am I meant to be serious when that's happening?
If there's anyone new here to the channel, this is what we bring
just
to
said
FPL.
It's Planet FPL.
Planet FPL.
I like that.
Yeah, this is what we bring. We bring a bit of fun to the game. Sorry, Jay. Crack on.
So yeah, if Salah and Mane aren't going to be captaincy options for you, then of course it logically makes sense because I believe Robertson and Trent over a season will score more than one of them of Salah or Mane. And you have KDB, you have Aubameyang. If they do as well as they did last season, you're going to get similar points from those two anyway. But it's where you take into consideration the form that they're in, the fact that you can captain these players. If you captain Salah and he's on fire, then he's going to be doubling those points anyway. So if you're happy having your captaincy options as KDB and Aubameyang, it could work out, but brave man to watch a Liverpool game without Salah or Mane.
Yeah, Brett, thoughts?
It's interesting because, Kurt, you're making that point about, investing this money in the defenders. But you did say without fixtures, you're picking a team for the long term. And when I look at the season-long prospect, if I look at it from that perspective, then Robertson and Trent for me are no-brainers because they're both 7.5 and below. They're almost guaranteed to get 160 plus points. Like Trent got 210 or something. Robertson got 180. The season before, they both got over 200. So, okay, you can't guarantee that kind of output again because they might get lower. But you're surely going to get 160 plus, right? And when you look at all the other options in midfield and strikers for 7 million, they're like 130 points. So when I look at that, I think, well, surely Robertson is worth the investment as well as Trent, because if I'm going to spend 7 million on a midfielder that can't get that many points, why don't I just put it in Robertson, So I'm in my current draft, I got both Robertson and Trent. And I did that at the start of last season. I felt really good about it. And then I buckled and got rid of them. And this season, if I go with it, I'm just going to stick with them for the longer term.
And is that with Mane and or Salah?
At the moment, well, I've got 12 million option. So it's either Salah or I go Salah-less and go Aubameyang instead. Which will most likely be Salah. Just the way I normally play, I always sort of gravitate towards Salah.
Will the fixtures sway you either way?
Gravitate. I didn't even mean that. Sorry, man, what did you say? If the fixtures what?
Will the fixtures change your mind on that at all? Going 3 Liverpool.
They shouldn't, because like I said, Trent and Robertson are so good over the longer term. So they can deliver assists in any given game, even if they get like Man City away in the first game week. I'm still going to want them for the next fixture and the next fixture. They just feel like such reliable options that I just don't have to think about.
This is a question that comes up a couple of times more, actually. So, yeah, it's definitely a consideration for people, clearly,
Yeah, and they're the only defence I trust, bar like maybe Burnley or something, Van Dijk's there. As long as Van Dijk's there, they're going to keep clean sheets.
Do you not feel they tapered off a bit towards? I know there was a lot with like what happened and stuff, and then them winning, and they didn't really have anything to fight for after that. But do we like feel that? Sorry, who let the dogs out? Do we feel that they've dropped off a bit in form at all? And if will they start the season strongly again?
I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean, they've had 2 incredible seasons now, not just one. They've had like the best defensive record for last season, and I think they were like 1 clean sheet off it the season before, or maybe got it. It was between them and Man City, who both had great defensive records the season before. So that's 2 seasons on the bounce that they've had amazing defensive records. And I don't know if it sounds like a valid point, but when I look at like Van Dijk and the way he talks, like they're not just gonna throw in the towel now that they've won the Premier League. Like they're just winners. They want more. They want more. Like when I listen to them talk, they've got this little assist rivalry with Trent and Robertson, so they're always trying to outdo each other. Alisson in goal as well. Like the back line is so good, so consistent. So I do get what you're saying, but I'm trying to think of it from a longer term perspective. And over the season, they will produce.
Yeah, but the issue is, and I'm probably projecting here, who plays the FPL game season long? Because I know I don't. As soon as the points aren't coming in, I'm trying to tinker it to make sure I get points in. It's whether I trust myself to think this is what's going to happen, stick with it, even when it seems like it might not be.
Yeah, I totally get that, mate. You're completely right, and I'm a culprit too. I did that last season. I tried to tinker too much. I had Trent and Robbo at the start, got rid of both of them, and then I spent another 3 or 4 game weeks transferring them back in with free transfers after I'd wildcarded them both out. Like, I don't know. They're just players that I personally like, and I feel better when I've got them in my team. So it's all about who like you feel personally towards. Because I like self-destructed my own season because I wildcarded out Salah and Trent and Robbo, and because they're players that I like personally, I end up dismantling my team to get them back again because I just want those players. I want Salah back. So that's just on me. Like that's just like my sort of characteristic to those players. So yeah, I mean, like because I did so badly last season, I look at some set and forget teams, that we had, and I had Robbo and Luca Dean and Trent, and they all did so well. And Doherty, if you just stick by them, I know it's easier said than done, but there's such good value, Robertson and Trent. Just
another thing, not to throw a spanner in the works. I know I love to be the one to sort of shoot back down to earth, be the pessimistic one, but with all good teams that have been there in the Premier League, their run comes to an end at some point, and generally it's not just like they'll gradually get a bit worse. Quite often it's been they'll be up here and then they will go somewhere behind me. They're straight back down to earth.
Yeah.
And they've been good 2 seasons in a row. First of all, their good run will end at some point. Every good team's run ends. Second of all, like Leicester when they won the Premier League, what happens when teams suss them out? I mean, Chelsea signing Ziyech and Werner, that reeks to me of a potential of get the ball out of the box to Ziyech. Werner's already making the run. Boom, counter-attack them and sit back. And Chelsea have done that before. They think that the 2-0
Chelsea are going to be a big one to watch this season.
Yeah, I think they could be. And it's not just Chelsea, it'll be other teams as well. That's just one example.
United, if
United have got better. Everyone's getting better. Who have Liverpool signed? Someone for 10 million that will sit as a backup left back, I think. That's it. And this is the second season now they've signed nay on nothing. I mean, it's to a point where teams have to build, have to buy more, because at the end of the day, players get better. Players get better. Players also get worse, and teams can adapt and play better. The game is always evolving. You put this Liverpool team against a team that played 30 or 40 years ago, it would wipe the floor with it. The game evolves day in, day out. My worry is that without Liverpool making any marquee signings again, or if they do, fair enough. But at the moment they haven't, and where other teams are looking to sign big or have signed big, or have at least improved their team in one area where they will be starting, will their form and will their their good run finally end? And I think personally, if it's not this season, it'll be somewhere potentially towards the end of the season, and I don't think they'll be performing as good. Just a hunch, as the last 2 seasons have done. That's just a personal thought. Anyway,
Ooh,
back to sleep.
okay, cool.
Yeah, just really quickly, Nim, just to add, and
Yeah,
like you
no,
said,
crack on, buddy.
Jay, and I think you asked as well, Nim, like it will depend on fixtures for me, because as much as I want to play the season game, let's say Liverpool do get Man City, Spurs, Chelsea, United in, you know, the opening 6-7 game weeks, and Arsenal are gifted a lovely run, and Tierney becomes an option, or, you know, if Wolves get a nice run and Doherty's an option, you know, those kind of players, then I would probably bring in for Roberts, and I wouldn't double up if the fixtures are horrendous. But
Yeah.
you know, we're all saying how locked in Trent is, and I look at Robertson for 0.5 million cheaper, and I think having both of them would.
Yeah,
you know,
and Trent is flagged at the moment as well, isn't he, for an unknown
didn't know that.
reason? Yeah.
Nah, still in my side.
Yeah.
He'll somehow
so-
assist from the bench. Somehow.
Yeah, somehow, some way.
That could be just a knock. So it could be gone in the next couple of days. and the
Yeah,
season
yeah,
can
no,
start.
I know. Just kind of mention it that I know there is an injury of some kind there. How bad it is, I've no idea. So, we just got a couple of mentions to bring Kurt and Brett up if possible. Jay,
My
just turn
volume's
my mic
max.
up a tiny bit.
Okay.
Yeah, my volume's max, so I can't turn it up.
I've turned mine
anymore.
up a tiny bit, so hopefully that helps.
Okay. If Kurt can do the same, then cool. And welcome, Andy. It's good to have you back in the chat, buddy. Okay, at Blades Attack asks, do you think this could be the season that Nathan Redmond finally fulfills the potential he has hinted at for so many years? So, Kurt, what do you think? Is this Nathan Redmond's year?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about potential, first of all, I've got to give a shout out to young prospect Theo Walcott. Actually tear it up this year. No, it would just be. Sometimes players show promise, and sometimes players look good for a couple of games, but just cannot turn it on for a season long, or a couple of seasons, or maybe even a career-long period. Another one to note is also in that he's still at Southampton, isn't he? He hasn't moved. I haven't really looked at transfers, but
No,
another
he's
one
still,
is
yeah, he's still at Southampton.
is James Ward-Prowse.
Mhm.
When he's on his game, James Ward-Prowse looks phenomenal. And when he's playing well, you will see every single time this season, a couple of games where he will look dynamite, and you'll see potentially next David Beckham. But you can't be potentially next David Beckham for 15 years. You've eventually got to put your foot down and try and do something. It's exactly the same with Theo Walcott. He was good at times. Could he have been better? Of course he could. Was he consistent enough? Of course he wasn't. Nathan Redmond's exactly the same way. Redmond will constantly be a mid-table player, like Southampton. Will get a decent amount of goals and assists. He'll be decent, but that's all you can say. You'll have a good season, but you won't have anything that will be potentially someone like Michu. You look at like a Michu-like season. No one will. He's not someone that break out like that for me. He's good, but he's just not quite that good. He'll turn it on every now and again. That'll be it.
Okay, what do you think, Brett? Nathan Redmond, is this his year?
I don't think so. No, I'm not a fan personally. Look, I would never tell someone not to go for a player, but my take on this is just a very quick player comparison between Redmond and Phil Foden, who were both the same price this season. Foden played 892 minutes, so the equivalent of like 10 games. He scored more goals than Redmond did. He got 4 goals. That's all you need to see. I mean, even if Foden's a rotation risk, he's still going to score more goals than Redmond will. You know, Foden could play the one game week 1 or game week 2, get rotated in the other, and maybe score, or, you know, get a brace a couple of times if he's on his game. You know, so yeah, because Redmond's 6.5, that kind of just switches me off him as an option personally.
Yeah.
You know, I do like Redmond. But he's not enough of a goal threat for me to justify that kind of price. If he was 5.5, maybe. But yeah, I'm kind of fixated on Foden. If I'm going 6.5, that's kind of the option I'm going towards.
So it's not needless to say he's dead now then, Brett.
Needless to say, I'm not choosing him.
Fair enough. Sorry, Brian. Nobody's on the Nathan Redmond.
Go with your gut. If you feel like he's going to do well and they got good fixtures, then why not? You know.
Okay, cool. FPL Fluffy, again, what a name, would like to know our thoughts on Mahrez. Do you think Robo and Trent can match Salah and Mane? So we got a Mahrez question. We kind of covered the Robo, Trent, Salah, Mane. So let's go with our thoughts on Mahrez. So Kurt, what are your thoughts on Riyadh?
Personally, doesn't look good.
Okay.
That was quick.
Just, that's it. What about yourself, Brett? What were your thoughts on Riyadh?
Yeah, literally, I was just doing some tinkering today, and
did he make it in?
Time, he went in just for a little bit. Yeah,
just a little bit, just a little bit, just a feel. Because
on one of the drafts, I had like an 8.5 slot, and I was looking at Pulisic, and then there's Mahrez at the same price, and it's just such a shame that Mahrez is that rotation risk, because his output last season, and I looked at his previous points as well, and like he very rarely plays many minutes, and he always returns unbelievable points. In perspective of how many minutes he plays, his returns are unbelievable, So I think last season, this is off the top of my head now, but it was like 11 goals and 13 assists or something like that. And, he only played just over half a season or something in terms of minutes, He wasn't far off. Like last season, his stats and points weren't far off his title-winning campaign with Leicester. It was that good in such a short amount of time, in terms of his minutes. So I really like Mahrez, and he was arguably their best player bar De Bruyne last season. I think a lot of City fans would probably say that, he was a bit of an unsung hero. But it's the rotation that worries me, And I don't know much about this Torres. I don't know if this Torres threatens his place a little bit as well. But surely with any other manager, you would think Mahrez has cemented his place in the team from last season. But it's Pep, and you look at the side that he put out in the Champions League, and it's so unpredictable. And I think he benched Mahrez for that one. So, yeah, I can't see myself starting the season with Mahrez, but he's the kind of player that I think it could be genius, because if you just stay patient and persevere through the benchings, he'll still tick over with points,
Yeah.
But I think I just want someone a bit more nailed. But I do like him as he's in the back of my thoughts for sure.
Jay, what are your thoughts on Mahrez?
To be fair, it's probably going to echo Brett quite a bit. I'm hopeful because, of course, Sane's gone and David Silva's gone. They brought in Torres, but I personally think he's a bit raw at the moment. It's going to take some time for him to get into the way Pep plays. I don't think he's going to start regularly at the beginning of the season. I think it will take time with him. So with that being said, you've got Mahrez, you've got Bernardo Silva, you've got Foden, and I'm thinking, well, KDB's pretty much nailed. And Jesus or Aguero, I'm hopeful Mahrez could be a starter. And if he is, I think that's a very nice way into that Man City side, especially with all the other expensive midfielders we could be looking at. So I'm hopeful. I'm just not sure it's going to happen just because it is Pep.
Yeah.
It's the kind of player that if you time it right, he will have a spell of like 5 game weeks where it's like a genius move, but he's not a player that you can like rely on every week. But yeah, it's all about timing. He's one of those players like when you're on Twitter, you see everyone getting the points from him, 17 pointers, 12 points, double digits, and then you bring him in, you get bench.
Bench.
Yeah.
But if you can time it well, it can pay off. It's just tricky.
Yeah, no, agreed. Okay, our regular, Pristaview, made a joke about who would we triple up on given the current fixtures. So clearly we haven't got any, but Brett's all in on Liverpool RP.
Yeah, triple up at the moment. Yes. Yeah. Robo, Trent.
What about you, Jay? Anyone you'd go for?
It would have to be Liverpool without any fixtures. They're the team that have had the rest. I would maybe have gone Man U or Man City, but both have been playing Champions League and Europa League. So I feel like even if they do start in Game Week 1, there could be a bit of tiredness amongst them, whereas Liverpool have been nice and rested. So I'd go with Liverpool.
Come on, people. It's clearly Arsenal. Aubameyang, Saka and Martinez for the win. Come on.
Not Tierney. Tierney. Got to be Tierney. The way he was playing at the end.
He's close to my team for
he
sure.
Is close.
I keep thinking if I could just put a 5.5 alongside Trent.
Yeah. Kurt, anyone you triple up on, given the the plethora of fixtures we have so far?
Antonio Souček.
Yeah.
United personally.
Bowen.
Mate.
Yeah.
United, even with the rest, without the rest.
Yeah.
I think they're still going to get a good enough rest before the start of the season. At the end of the day, if I don't play at their level, I play football, cricket every week, like they do.
Yeah.
Training in between. I try and go to the gym. But when it comes down to it, I'm knackered after a football game. The week to prepare, I'm fine. They've got 4 weeks. They're professional players. They should be fit and ready. So my personal thoughts are Man United, just because, and I spoke about it last season, if they improve their defence, and if they improve that on the training ground, or maybe with signings, you've not only got the option of attacking returns, potentially a defensive return as well. And I haven't actually checked on David De Gea.
Oh gosh, not David De Gea again. Kurt, you
Oh, he's
lost that
5.5.
battle
No,
last
he's
season.
5.5.
You lost
No.
that battle last season. Leave it alone now. Move on.
It would have been a good option. I put my mind out there. I've got a lot of things right. And one thing I want to know, actually, before we go into anything else, I was absolutely right on a lot of things I said about West Ham.
Okay.
And it's not often that I'm that right. However, I was wrong about De Gea because Man United are pants at back. But I was right about West Ham. So,
Yes.
1 for 1.
Yeah,
And,
no, okay, we'll give you that.
Yeah.
I think we'll give him that, lad. Should we
Man
give him that?
United.
Okay.
I can't remember what he said about West Ham.
No, just say yes.
See how I
think that could be a good option.
Just to say that Fancy Football Focus in the chat. Hey, Focus, and he says he's obsessed with Martinez. I mean, we knew that anyway, but thanks for letting us know, buddy. Okay, and RP wants to know, when City sign Messi, should we all get him in our teams or will he flop? I mean, if Messi was in FPL, I'm pretty sure we're all going to tear up our teams to get him in, right? That's a wild card,
How much would
regardless.
you reckon? 14?
Oh, 13, 14 million, surely. I mean, come on.
Not going to happen anyway. Not going to happen.
How much? Out of interest, I don't have too much in terms of
history.
history.
Michael Leary just said Messi rotated.
What is the most expensive player in history?
Wasn't it
Cristiano?
Cristiano?
Must be up there.
I think Cristiano.
How much was he? I can't remember what he was.
13.5, I think.
So he would be a bit above that. So 14,
don't quote me.
Don't get into the Ronaldo versus Messi.
I personally think Ronaldo is a better player, but it's more at the time. Ronaldo wasn't the player he was at Madrid, that he was at Man United. He still was, and even at the start of Real Madrid, he was still growing as a professional, growing as a footballer. So when Real Madrid signed him, he wasn't that complete player that we know now, whereas he was after a couple of years. So that's why I say it, because he was still good, really good back then, but he wasn't the complete player.
Yeah, but I mean, it's clear we would all get him in, right? I mean, I would. The magician, I'd get him in. What about you, Brett? You'd have him, surely?
Depends on fixtures. Yeah, probably, yeah.
Can he do it on a rainy day Oh, wait a minute.
Depends on where he goes. I mean, if he goes to Arsenal, then let's not be cursing him. Let's leave him alone. If he goes to Arsenal, leave him alone.
Well, that's definitely not happening. No offense to Arsenal.
Yeah, we can't afford him. Yeah, thanks to everybody new who's watching. If you are new, please do pop us a like and subscribe to the channel. Very much appreciated. We do regular streams throughout the season and we often have a lot of guests on. So yes, your support is very much appreciated. Okay, we have another regular question from Ray. He says, assuming there's no blanks to start the season, he's pretty set on Robbo and Trent as his Liverpool assets. Oh my gosh, here we go again. He has no problem captaining Trent. Is this genius or madness? Well, clearly, Ray, as soon as this is our third question on Robbo and Trent together, I don't think it's madness. But we have kind of covered it. Is there anything else that anyone wants to add to Ray on that? Any thoughts?
I guess just on the captaincy thing, really. I mean, based on last season, like he is in the conversation for captaincy now. You know, he was. There was a period of game weeks, maybe like 11 straight game weeks, that he returned points or something. You know, I can't sit here and say I would do it. I didn't captain Trent once, and I don't. When you've got like Aubameyang in midfield, Salah, Mane, De Bruyne, it's very hard to just go and captain Trent. But it can be quite a savvy move, because he does have the consistency and capable of delivering big hauls as well. So yeah, I think he's in the conversation for sure. Could be a smart move.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Before this evening, before seeing these questions, I hadn't really considered the double up at the back with Liverpool, and you've made some really good points, Brett. That's made you kind of got me thinking about it now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
This is why it's kind of bad to like talk. Like I don't want to like influence anyone.
No, I don't feel influenced by you. But
Yeah.
what I'm thinking is it's come up a couple of times, obviously for a reason. People are considering the fact that you're getting a lot for your money in those two at the back, regardless of whether you go with Salah or not.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to be keen to see those fixtures tomorrow and make a decision from there. But I think, it's definitely one to think about for sure. And, I think it is then whether you stick with them and whether you go without Salah or Mane, there's going to be a lot of consideration there. But I can't go without one of Salah or Mane, personally. I think the percentages just scare me too much. And then it would just be whether I would be happy to do the triple, to be honest. And and which one to go with, whether if I don't triple up, whether to go with Robbo or Trent. I mean, Trent was, in my team, I think, game week 3 last season and then didn't leave it. So I think, barring any major news on this injury, then yeah, I very much doubt I'll be going without. But yeah, I think it's definitely a consideration for sure. Okay, Brett, shall we do a quick fire round before we do Jeffers Corner?
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, no problem. So should we stick to the 60 seconds or should we have like 90 seconds per question, or what do you think? Is 60 seconds enough?
You are the quick fire master. You go with whatever.
What did you say then, Kurt?
I said 10 seconds.
Oh,
So
being
no
honest,
answer.
How many times have we had quickfire rounds where we said, who do you prefer, Rashford or Igalo, for example? And then we've gone on, by the way, we are 7 minutes over the 1 minute timer. So for the ones that it's just saying, oh, choose this or this, it will force us to say one word rather than, well, actually, because of form, I like him, but is he the... And then...
Okay, I tell you what, if we get any like names, like this person, we'll just say the name.
Okay.
But for the rest, we'll have...
Cool. Evening tips. Welcome to the chat, buddy. Okay, cool.
I think depending on the question, I'll just say we got 60 seconds, 90 seconds. I'll just keep it going because some take a bit longer to go through, I think. Right, so can you see, is that the right way? The timer there? Can you see that timer?
I can see the timer. I don't know if it's the right way because it's not started.
Oh yeah,
it's zeros.
Am I mirrored or is that
yeah, that looks right to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Right. All right. So we'll start with questions then. So the first one is from FPL Lil Saints, and they ask, who is the one player locked in your team regardless of fixtures? Nim. So I guess this is just a name, really.
Yeah. Trent.
JNO.
Trent.
Kurt.
Aubameyang.
Oh, nice.
Like that. Yeah, hate to follow the crowd, but when I saw that question, it's Trent all day. Trent. Awesome. Next one is for War Swad, and he says he's got a back three of Wan-Bissaka, Tierney, and Doherty. What's our thoughts? And I'll give us 90 seconds on this one. So, Nim, do you want to start? Wan-Bissaka, Tierney, Doherty.
Get rid of Wan-Bissaka. I went there for a little while at the end of last season, and yeah, I regretted it. Not quite sure United are completely there at the back yet, so I'd maybe move on. one thing I didn't ask you guys, and this is outside of this, obviously we're maybe next stream, but Aki to City. So I want to I want some thoughts on that maybe next stream. So maybe consider that instead.
Wan-Bissaka, Tierney and Doherty. What's the thoughts on that back three?
I mean, where's Trent? But
yeah.
Other than that, if Man United signed a few defensive players, I could maybe see him turning it around. I don't think they're that far from being a good defensive unit. And I do like Doherty and Tierney, to be fair. So I like two of those options. I just probably wouldn't go Wan-Bissaka at the moment.
Yeah.
Kurt, thoughts on that back three?
Rid of Tierney, rid of Wan-Bissaka, keep Doherty.
Cool. I have 20 seconds left. I like Tierney as an option. I just worry about Arsenal's clean sheet potential. But if the fixtures are good, Tierney's a good option. I like Doherty as well. I'm not sold on Wan-Bissaka. I think United have got too many good attacking options. And I just, for 5.5, I'm not sure it's good value for money. I think there's better options there. So drop them down to a cheaper one, like a Burnley defender.
I'm just disturbed how he has that picture.
I find it hard to go without Trent or Robbo. That's that. What's he doing?
He's
yeah.
Last time this happened, it wasn't good. Can we have Kurt back, please?
Is this like a green screen thing, or can you get the floating head to line up? Perfectly?
I mean, it's a nice picture, though. I'll give it. He's allowed because that's a nice picture.
You need to sit back.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh my word!
Right.
Dear.
Are we still in this stream?
Yes, we're good. We're good. Go for it. Just ignore what's going on there.
Right. Next question. I'll give us 90 seconds. Glenn Allen Fossum wants to know our thoughts on Pereira. I think from West Brom he's talking about.
So yeah, he's 6 million, isn't he?
He is. He just got released today. What do you think, Jay?
If you're going to go for a West Brom player, I think you have to go with him. Just the amount of assists he got last season, he seems that important to the side. I personally don't see anyone else in that West Brom side that I'd gravitate towards other than Matthias Pereira. So if they have a good run of fixtures, I think he could be a good punt that should shoot up in price if he does start off well.
Nim, any thoughts?
Don't know that much about him, to be honest, buddy. So no real thoughts.
No worries. Kurt?
Do you want his stats quickly, or?
Yeah, go for it. I'd like to.
8 goals, 16 assists, average of 2.6 shots per game, and 2.8 key passes.
Nice.
Where did you join from?
It's Pereira of West Brom.
I think Sporting Lisbon. That's a guess. I think that's who he came from. But he played for West Brom last season on loan, so he was in the Championship last season.
Oh, so they re-signed him permanently then?
Yes, they've now re-signed him permanently.
Did. That's right.
Well, he's with that form,
seconds.
he's guaranteed a starting spot.
I should hope so. If they come up and drop him and be like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I find it hard to start the season with him, but he's certainly on my watch list. Like Jay said, amazing stats. On transfermarket.com, he's listed as having 20 assists because I think they register fantasy assists on there as well.
Okay.
So 20 fantasy assists, 16 assists, but 20 as fantasy. Their best player by far. And chances created through the roof as well. My only concern with him, I know I'm out of time now, but he's got great creative stats for 6 million and from the Championship. But Buendia from Norwich had amazing creative stats in the Championship as well.
Yeah.
And he didn't quite convert into many assists last season. That's my way with Pereira. But I'm glad that he's 6 million, not 6.5.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to come in at 6.5. So yeah, like him on the watch list. I'm just not sure I'm going to start with him when Foden's 0.5 million more. Okay. Next one. Sorry, I went over time there. Okay. So El Ranjos, right, we'll have 60 seconds on this one. Is Tierney a good choice from Arsenal? We talked about him a little bit already. Nim?
Arsenal? Yeah, I think so. I think he is. I'm not still sold on our defence. I prefer Martinez, obviously, so in goal. So I guess we'll need to see on Leno a bit as well on that for the clean sheet potential. But he looked so good towards the end of last season with his attack. And I think he could definitely be... Whether I'll start the season with him will very much depend on our fixtures. I haven't got him at the moment, and yeah, I do like him though as a prospect. I mean, the attacking prospect. I think we didn't get to see much of that when he first started in the Arsenal team, but it definitely started to kind of come out later on, you know, towards the end of the season. So definite option.
Cool. I'll give 30 seconds if anyone wants to add anything.
Not really.
No, I think he's a good option. You know, it does depend on fixtures. I'm not quite sure. Like Nim said on Arsenal's clean sheet potential, that always worries me. With new centre backs coming in like this Saliba, is he going to start, that kind of thing? Yeah, I like him for his attacking output. So if they get good fixtures, he's a strong consideration. Okay, so Graham, Fantasy Football Focus. Be sure to check him out on YouTube. He wants to know, we'll just give one name for this, okay? Anyone think they have a nice budget defender? So budget defender for this one. So one name. Kurt?
Luke Ayling.
Jay?
Sorry, I was busy with the chat. What's the question?
Budget defender. Just the name of a budget defender.
Stuart Dallas.
Nice. Nim?
Vinagre.
Yeah. There's 3 options that I've all considered actually. I don't want to just start talking now. Sorry, I'll give one name. Sensibly, I'm going to say Charlie Taylor. Just it's Burnley.
Yes.
Again, he's someone I've also considered.
But Dallas, I like his stats actually. Yeah, I like Dallas' stats. And Vinagre Wolves, good option. Okay. Next one. Just a quick shout out. So Tanzid from Bangladesh, like you said earlier, Nim, he just says tinkering a lot with his team. He's got high hopes for Werner. Currently, without knowing the fixtures, I'm currently without any Man City players. So, hey, Tanzid, good luck with
Can I interrupt with one quick thing? First of all, we are smashing it with views. Apologies as well. I was going to pick a different time. We were on 69.
We're on
we're now on
71.
Now on 71. Smash the like button. There's 28 likes. There's 69 or 71 people watching.
Oh, Kurt's telling you guys off.
We need an incentive.
What are you doing?
Get to 50?
Yeah, what happens if they get to 50, Kurt? Come on.
I will take my top off.
A different background. Let's see what backgrounds he's got.
Whoa, well, there's an incentive for you people. It's shooting up. It's shooting up.
Get those likes to 50.
Get those likes to 50. Cool.
Okay, FPL Maestro, just a quick shout out. He says he would go Ings over Jimenez any day. The reason I took that down, not only to give him a shout out, but let's quickly go for 60 seconds then on Jimenez or Ings. Just one name, I guess. So Jimenez or Ings, Kurt?
Jimenez.
Jay?
Jimenez.
That's tough. It is tough. Nim?
Just to be different, let's go with Ingsy. Why not?
Why not? Split. I'm going to go Ings as well.
That means go with Jimenez, people.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Quick shout out to Brian, obviously, always watching. Thanks, Brian. And he says Aguero has missed at least 1,000 minutes every season in England. How have I never noticed this before? If that's true, that's
heartbreak.
I have said that he's a rotation risk. Even before Pep, he was rotated. He was injured. He was never consistent. So
this is plus side of that. This is his golden boot season. You heard it here first.
The plus side of that, though, is if you bring him in at the right time,
yes,
he's very explosive. If you've got him before other people do.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. So FPL Fieco wants to know our thoughts on Pogba. Anyone want to take this one? 60 seconds.
I can't consider going to him until he starts to show, of course, the potential we know he has. But when he's surrounded by players like Bruno Fernandes, Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood, and then potentially who they might bring in, I just can't consider him a choice until he at least proves the FPL output will be there.
That's what I was going to say. The second point. When you look at it, it doesn't matter how good he is. Greenwood, Fernandes, Martial, Rashford. There's 4 better picks in him that play further forward. And even if you're thinking if they improve their defence, Luke Shaw, David De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, there are options there. So no.
Yeah, I feel like Fernandes has kind of ended Pogba as a fantasy asset because it has pushed him a bit deeper. And in the previous season, when Pogba was an option for all of us, it was a lot of penalties there. He's not on those either, so he's not an option, I don't think.
John, if you're struggling with the buffering, you can go to your settings in the bottom right, buddy, and choose the quality option, and you can move it up and down, and it might help on your buffering. Hopefully that helps you. Okay.
How many likes we got now?
37 I've got, so 13
Tell
away.
you what, if we get to 50 likes, so many people are putting this player or this player in the chat, and we'll go through every single this player or this player with one-word answers.
Okay.
So everyone get the likes in. We've got ones from Junaid's channel. We've got one from
38.
Abimanu. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Ibimanu. We've got one from Graham. There's lots of 50-50 player choices here, so we can just bomb through them if we get to 50 likes.
Cool. And Kurt takes his top off for that too, so you know.
Yeah. Check Nim out trying to get that top.
He's a clean shaved man now. What can I say?
I'm going to contact HR as well.
Unfortunately, I think HR's Nim.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'll keep quiet.
I am the boss. What are you talking about?
How are we doing with the likes? Should we do another question first?
We're on 42 at the moment.
Yeah.
42, right. Keep getting those likes. Let's get to 50 and then we'll go through the head-to-heads. Okay, so War Squad wants to know our thoughts on Bergwijn versus Spurs. Anyone want to jump in? Have a couple of thoughts on Bergwijn?
Yeah, I think he looked promising towards the end of last season, didn't he? I don't know. It's one of those ones that unless I know Spurs have got like really great fixtures, I can't say I've really thought about, you know, getting a Spurs player in from the off. And even then, you know, the ones I tend to gravitate towards are Son and Kane. And yeah, there's maybe Aurier because he was good in attack towards the end of last season. But yeah, no, I don't mind him as an option, but he will be fixture specific for me.
Anyone else?
Too many good attacking teams out there to look at Spurs, unless I'm going Son or Kane.
It's Mourinho. See, as soon as he takes over a team, it just puts me off completely.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh no.
Yeah. I'm feeling quite comfortable without going with Spurs. I'm just kind of thinking, you know what? There's already too many headaches. Forget about Spurs because it's Mourinho and they're not always banging in goals, you know. So
yeah,
we'll see. But I'm okay to start the season without anything.
Okay, we're 4 away now, people. 4 likes away.
Let's get 4 more likes on the stream, and then we'll go.
Oh, we've got a request for Kurt to change his background as well after those 4.
Gotta get to 50. Gotta get to 50, and then.
Gotta get to 50.
Right. Poor guy who requested's probably already hit the like. He's like, I can't do anything.
It's just asking. He's just going around asking anybody knows.
I'll change the background as well, 50 likes.
Okay.
There's a question here from Ant A, and he says, "How do I pick a captain? I asked my 4-year-old daughter to pick a captain each week, and she has better success rate than me, and she makes her decision because it's a pretty kit."
Oh, wow.
So, any quick 60-second tips on how you pick a captain?
I don't know why you're asking me after last season.
I've got one.
Did anyone have a good captain success last season?
Oh, well, yeah. No, to be fair, I all of my captains did well, but my vice captains did better. So, like, all of my captains returned, but then my vice captain would get like an assist extra or a goal extra. Or something.
So basically, she's saying check out her YouTube channel and her Twitter, see who her vice captain is, and captain them.
Yeah. Or you could go to our sponsors, fantasyfootballscout.com, and see who is leading in the captaincy poll there each week. And if you want to play it safe, especially towards the start of the season, then there is a good kind of choice to go with the crowd, if you see what I mean, if you don't want to go against the grain. And usually the higher percentaged captaincies, if they bang, then you find yourself much further back. So it's always a nice, little gauge of what's happening there. So it's a little tip.
Very good, Nim. Very good. Someone told me to turn my mic up, so I've tried to put it closer because it's on the highest volume. So let me know if
Cool.
that's better. Are we
We
at 50?
were on 50 likes and then somebody unliked.
No way, they're teasing us. They're teasing us. Have we all liked it? One of you like it, so get 50.
I have already.
Kurt, do us a favour, mate. Like the stream.
He's the one that's put the thing on offer. He can't like it.
Oh yeah. Right, I'll start gathering up some 50-50s just in case we get there then. There's quite a lot actually. Should we just start?
Yeah,
We
no,
got
we did
49.
definitely hit it, so
We
let's
hit
go
50.
with
We
it.
got to 50.
We did.
Okay.
I definitely seen it.
So one name answers then. We'll
Kurt
go...
needs to be changing his background mind, and that top needs to come off.
What do you want to do first?
Whichever, Betty. So you.
I'll
You
leave it up
don't
to you.
actually
You're the
have
one
to-
who sexually assaulted me a few times tonight. With your
Leave
words.
your
You
top on.
choose.
Leave your top on
No,
and
it's coming.
change the
One of them.
background.
No, coming on. It's coming off. You got to choose which one first. Come on.
Says
The
50 for me
background.
now.
The
The
background.
background.
Says it's
first.
50
Okay.
again.
Oh, 51
No,
now.
I'll take off
I reckon
my.
he's prepared something now. It's going to be a funny background.
Hold on, I'll take my.
So you got the
top
sound
off.
effect.
There's going to be like loads of Kurts. You'll be like 20 Kurts. Bloody hell, what is the stream?
There you go.
What is happening?
And I'll change my background. There you go.
Yes.
Uh,
Fair play. Fair play.
that one's going on Twitter.
Oh, Jesus, screenshot. Oh, that was so worth it.
Bonus points to whoever. Bonus
That
points to whoever
deserves
puts that on
more
Twitter
likes.
before us.
Oh God.
Oh,
what
was
have I
not
got
expecting
myself into?
And suddenly the viewers is going up. 86
Oh,
concurrent
my
viewers.
Oh, Jesus. People
Oh.
Okay, let's get on with
first time
50-50s.
listeners are probably
Brett.
thinking, what the hell is this? I thought this was like fantasy.
I do
fantasy
promise you we are
Pornland
all
or something.
serious FPL YouTubers.
Yeah, the P does not stand for porn in there. It stands for Premier League. It's, I don't know what the hell we're watching here.
Oh god.
Oh,
Can you get
bloody
on
hell.
with the 50-50s?
Yeah, this is getting very weird and uncomfortable.
Grasp
Yeah.
this.
Just
See
get
what
the
you've
likes-
done.
get the likes to
Why did we ask for the
69 now.
likes?
We gotta get the likes to 69. Right. Okay. Let's get the serious.
80 likes and the glasses come off.
So, so if we
And
go
he
the same
changes his
order-
background again. Please, people.
Yeah, will you save Nim? and get
Please
it-
save me and get to 80 likes. so we can get rid of this, please. Oh,
Brian
dear.
Yule says, now I know why this show starts after the watershed.
This is the Wildcats After Dark.
It is the Wildcats After Dark. Needless to say, I'm uncomfortable now.
Yes, yeah, no, agreed. Kurt, you might be
okay.
getting sacked if you don't change the background. Just saying, buddy.
He's doing it for the likes. He's just doing his part for the
lols.
team.
If we get to 69,
After all the
you'll take it
words
back.
I've received from yourself about shaving and taking my shirt, one thing I do is get the likes up and the viewers up, and I'm getting sacked. Can't do
I was going to
anything
say,
right.
she was asking for it. She can only blame herself.
That's true.
Exactly.
I wasn't
Absolutely.
expecting him to use my copyrighted material though against my will.
There are people trying to save you. It has gone up to 57.
Oh, thank you.
So people
Chad.
are trying to do their bit to save you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
There you go.
There we
There
go.
There we are.
There
He's
we
relaxing.
go.
He's relaxing. Right. So
Nice.
if I go the same order for each
Yeah.
person, so
Mhm.
we'll go to Nim, Jay, and Kurt. We'll go
Cool.
in that order every time. I'm just going to throw two names, and we just say the one that we prefer. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to scroll up the chat to find some. So Shay Travers is asking Che Adams or Chris Wood.
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 Is that the player you're talking about? Chris, or are you just very comfortable?
Mm.
No, it's Wood for me too. Wood for me too. In
It had to
FPL,
be
I mean,
Wood,
in
didn't
FPL, I mean.
it? Just the way this is going, it had to be
I
Wood.
know, that's typical, isn't it? That was the first one that I scrolled past. Bloody hell. I'm going to put that in the joke. Right, okay.
Crying.
There was, right, okay. Matt Ryan or McCarthy in goal?
Ryan.
Ryan.
McCarthy.
Wood. No, just joking. Ryan. Okay, next one. Son or Rashford?
Rashford.
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 Rashford. Sorry, I didn't see you guys' names in. So that was Junaid's channel, and the one before was Harsh now. Sorry, guys. The next one is Abimanu. I think I got it right that time. Martial or Bruno?
Bruno.
Martial.
Bruno.
Wow, Bruno. But Martial is being overlooked because he's a striker. I still think Martial. I like him over Rashford personally. Okay, Graham wants to know. Fancy Football Focus. Souček or Antonio?
He loves a bit of Souček.
He's got a winky face with that one too. It's like inside banter.
Yeah, he just loves Souček. It's quite widely known. Antonio.
Martinez. Oh, sorry. It was Graham's question. I just thought that was the
Yes,
answer.
good point.
Antonio.
Souček.
Antonio for me. Loads more coming in now. So Alawa Muzamil. Sorry, bud, if I've got your name right there. So Alawa wants to know Dele Alli or over Son? Dele Alli or Son?
Son.
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 Son. FPL Cheddar, Van Dijk or Doherty? Interesting one.
Doherty.
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 I'm going to say Van Dijk for that one. If you can't afford the like Robertson or Trent, Van Dijk, Doherty. Mark O'Leary wants to know Kane or Aguero.
There's no contest there. Aguero! All day long.
Aguero.
Guero.
Jeez. They definitely heard you there. The people that were saying he wasn't loud enough, I think that one was.
I got so burned by Aguero last season. I'm going to say Kane for that one.
Get
Just
out.
for rotation and stuff. Aguero
Wow,
just
it's
too
just
painful.
me and Nim next week.
Yeah.
So, just
Yeah.
everyone's getting fired.
That's tough, but Aguero is a very good option.
It's fine. You can go Kane, Brett. That's fine. I'll go.
Yeah, I'll go Kane. Okay. Robertson or Greenwood from Thomas McStay?
Greenwood.
Greenwood.
Sorry, I didn't hear the first one.
Robertson or Greenwood? Greenwood.
Greenwood.
I'm going to say Robertson. I'm different to everyone again. Robertson for me.
You just love that Liverpool defence.
I
my
do.
friend.
I just love Robbo. I bloody love him. Okay. Iced C says Ailing versus Dallas Leeds.
Ooh. I've only done a bit of research on both.
We've got so many of these coming in now. We've got loads of these. And
Have
everyone's
we?
putting in.
It should be a separate
Yeah.
stream.
Okay, this is gonna we'll definitely do more of this, guys, in future. Dallas, just 'cause I like his name.
Dallas, because I've done the research.
Ailing.
What was that?
Dallas.
Followed
for
a
me,
frog.
for the same reason. It was Ailing before, but Dallas's stats are impressive. Okay. Zakim Lucien says Vinagre or Doherty.
Doherty. I mean, if you can't afford Doherty, then Vinagre, but Doherty.
If you like the points, Doherty.
Doherty.
I'm going to say Vinagre just to save the money whilst Johnny's injured. But both nice options.
Mhm.
Doherty for the reliability.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark O'Leary says Rashford or Werner.
Ooh, Werner.
Werner.
You muted, Kurt.
I think you're muted, yeah. Unless you're just
Oh, he's trolling us.
He's just trolling us. Just trolling us.
I'm pretty sure he said Rashford under his breath. Yeah, you did. Okay, I just let my lip read it.
Oh,
I'm going to say Werner.
okay.
Bardsley or Taylor? Burnley.
Taylor.
Taylor.
Bardsley.
Taylor. Okay. Oh, Harshal. Ziyech or Greenwood?
Greenwood, only just because I don't know. I've not really seen much of Ziyech yet, so Greenwood.
For now, Greenwood.
Greenwood.
I hope it's not green.
That was wrong. I think people are still finding it hard to hear me. Sorry about that, but I've got my mic on full, so I don't know what's going on there. McCarthy or I did that one. Lots of comments here. Okay, Werner or Kane? Junaid's channel.
Werner.
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 Do three more then, Brett.
We'll do 3 more, okay, because this is never ending. Unless we get to like
We will do another
likes. Unless we get to like 100 likes.
Yeah.
To be fair, we did get to 93 concurrent viewers.
Yeah,
So-
I did see that.
Right, let's do 3 more then. I'll try and pick people that haven't had theirs yet. Ooh,
Yeah.
this is a good one. I like this. Daytona Davis, Saka or Saint Maximin.
Saka.
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 I'm going to say Saka too, but I like Saint Maximin as a pick, but Saka.
Mhm. I know Sam FPL family would definitely say Saint Maximum. She's a big advocate indeed.
Nice. Non-stop says Taylor. I'm guessing Charlie Taylor or Saliba or Saliba.
Or Saliba. I'm not entirely sure that he's nailed on starter yet, so for that, Taylor.
Same, but if Saliba was a nailed on starter, I would go
Yeah.
Saliba.
Mhm.
Wood. No, Taylor.
Even if Saliba was nailed on, I'd still go Taylor, personally. Okay, so 2 more. Let's try and find what we haven't done. Someone says Ozil or Lingard. I think he's falling for that one.
Lingard.
Ozil.
Just have a good bench option to come in for either one. Okay.
He was talking
Little-
about gaming, right? Yeah, he was talking about gaming, surely.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, Aguero.
Yes, true. Or me, obviously.
Or he did have it in his sunglasses before we started the stream.
Yeah, Kurt is missing the chance for some self-promotion here.
Is he awake?
I don't know. I think he might have gone to sleep.
We're getting to that point now where we're like, hello, Kurt. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
He's not. Right, should we have one more?
Yeah,
one
one more.
more. Then we'll do Jeffers'
I
corner.
can find a good one. All right, just to mix it up then, we'll go with this one because it's not players, it's formations, but it's just something different. So Nenad Bosic says 3-4-3 or 3-5-2.
You know what? Given the way the season started, I'm gonna go 3-5-2.
3-5-2.
3-5-2.
Same, 3-5-2. So many good options in midfield. Cool. There's so many people asking more questions that.
Yeah, no, guys, we'll be back next week, and we'll definitely do this segment again. I think if you've all enjoyed it, for sure. So anybody who's new to the channel, we have a regular called Jeffers at Austin66 UK. He runs some really cool leagues throughout the season, and every week he gives us a Jeffers Corner question, which has nothing to do with FPL, because as you can probably see from our channel, we're much about being a family and friends here as we are about FPL. So we always like a bit of a laugh and getting to know each other a little better, as well as all the FPL banter too. So Jeffers' Corner question this week is: you wake up to realise that FPL has been a dream and does not exist. Do you move on with your FPL-less life, or do something about it, making it real? Discuss. So, Brett, could you go without FPL for the rest of your life? Would you go on blissfully happy without it, or would you do something to try and get it back in your life?
I'm really sorry, Nim. Can you just repeat the start of the question? Because I was commenting to people in the chat and I missed it. So I'm sorry, but just really
Leave them
quickly.
alone.
Really quickly.
Right.
I'll tell them.
Okay. Jeffers says, you wake up to realise that FPL has all been a dream and it doesn't exist anymore. Do you move on with your FPL-less life or do something about it, making it real? Discuss.
That is tricky. That is very tricky. There's things that I would really miss about it and things that I wouldn't, it is quite stressful, and because we're so competitive, I do get down on myself because I did so badly last year, and the downs can be very down, but at the same time, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have like a channel and, sort of making this hobby a bit of a career, really. And if I can say that.
Yeah.
So without it, I'll be a little bit lost now, I think, because I'd be thinking, well, what am I going to do without my YouTube channel, which keeps me busy,
Yeah, for sure.
That is tricky.
It is tricky.
I don't want to be the one to say I could live without it.
Yeah.
I probably could. I think I could live without it.
I don't want to be the one to say it, but I will say it.
The pressure. I could live without the pressure.
Yeah. Kurt, I'd like to get your relaxed thoughts on this. I'm assuming you just go on breezing through life, chilling out, maxing, relaxing.
No, I wouldn't miss it because I'd focus time on something else. I mean, if FPL wasn't here, it's not the end of the world for me. I'd go on with my life. I'd just enjoy football as a neutral, probably bet a lot more and lose a lot more money. And probably go on holiday a bit. I have to worry about FPL not being in that country or whatever.
You're on holiday right now, buddy.
Well, I got told off for my last holiday.
Yeah.
It was so apparently
calling it a holiday.
And there, 2 suitcases in hand, got turned away at the door. No, wait until I told Jesus about this.
Jay, what about yourself?
So basically, you're saying I've got an opportunity to start FPL. I could create it myself.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because it kind of implied in the question, or would you do something about it? So I could start FPL myself, and I'd be the creator of FPL.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could change the rules every year to suit my own needs or the team I'm going to pick.
Yeah.
Maybe life wouldn't be different. We'd all just be playing Sky Game or something. That exists. Telegraph.
Yeah.
Also means you could tap into all the content. So you could be the
original content creator of everything
of YouTube. You could become you could create your own website with other people's content with things like that. You could be the person on the FPL show. You could create the FPL show. You could do all that. No, I would have FPL.
Remove captaincy. Remove captaincy. I love that from Brett. Just make FPL and then take away captaincy.
No, someone asked me if. Oh yeah, okay. I just asked him what I would change.
I know.
So for me, I completely get what Brett's saying. There's a lot, especially as a content creator. The pressure is intense when you're a content creator, to do well, to get out good content, to stay with the pack. But I couldn't be without these guys and the community, and it's got me through a lot of tough times. So whilst there's a lot of stress, there's also a lot of fun, happy times too. And there are weeks where I'm having a terrible week and I get on this stream with the Wildcats and, that's it. I come off
end up in
a
a
better
room
person for it.
naked Kurt. That's what happens.
Somehow I end up being virtually abused online.
I'm sorry.
He was stroking your face. He was being very tender.
And we have a lot of laughs, and I come off a better person for it. So plus I'm an entrepreneur, and I just couldn't be without not doing something. So, like Brett said, I would be completely lost. I'd have to ring up Jay and be like, "So we start in this fancy football thing then?"
How would Jay know?
I'll be like, what are you talking about?
Because in this question, you're waking up, not anyone else. You're the one with the idea.
Well, that's what happened with the Wildcats, wasn't it? It was my idea. Rang up
The
Jay,
FPL already
told
existed.
him, said to him, "I want this channel. Make it happen, buddy. Come with me.
And
Let's
I'll
do
be
it."
like, what were we talking about?
Also, I saw one thing in the chat which was a good idea. Good enough to get the glasses off. Change the sodding bonus point system.
Yes,
So it
that
makes
I agree
sense.
with.
Rather than a bloke who's touched the ball 3 times in 90 minutes gets 3 bonus points, be like, well, what the hell did he do? He came off the bench for a couple of minutes to go and warm up. He didn't even come off the pitch. Stupid thing.
Anne asked a good question. Would any of us play the game differently if we weren't content creators? I can answer that already, Anne.
Right.
Yes, I have had some very good finishes before I started content creating. And since content creating, I've had some shocking finishes. So, yes, is the answer to that. I think you spend so much time in the community finding out research and stuff like that it's very difficult not to be persuaded, and there are things that I've done like in my team for my like to win my mini leagues that I know that if I'd done it whilst content creating, it would be kind of looked upon. I don't know whether frowned upon is the right word, but definitely be like, why are you doing that? Whereas, I'd happily do it without a thought elsewhere and say fan team or something. I'd just do it, just because I've got the gut feel for it. And I don't often follow that enough, which is something that I should do this season and try not to get persuaded as much. But yes, I think think that you can. There's definitely things you do differently. Anyway, for me, what do you think, guys?
I mean,
No.
to be honest, for me, I actually have had the best seasons I've played while creating content. So while it has affected some of my decisions, definitely, I'm not sure it would have actually affected how I play the game that much overall.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Cool. What about you, Brett?
Yeah, I'm more on your side, Nim. I definitely play it differently as I'm content creating. I think it's more with the risk taking. I don't like to. There might be a player that my gut is saying to go for, but if it's such an out there pick, I get very reluctant to say that in my video because of the reception it'll receive.
Mm-hmm.
I do, especially last season. I do read comments and stuff, and when you're having a bad season, you're getting like some negative comments, and the positive comments you get is such a high proportion of amazing comments that you get from people. But as humans, we naturally remember the negative ones.
Mm-hmm.
And if I transfer out a player and then they go and score a goal or something, and then I look at the comments and people are laughing and stuff like that, and I just think, I don't know, like I try and make the more obvious, the seemingly obvious move rather than going with my gut sometimes, because I'm scared of the reception. If I was to say, this is such a random example, but like the season before last, Ryan Babel went on a little run toward the end of the season, and Fulham were like rock bottom of the league. Why would you have Ryan Babel? But I was having this feeling to go for him, but I thought
I vaguely remember that actually.
Yeah,
No, I remember that.
Yeah.
I thought if I said in my video I'm going to bring Babel in, people in the comments would be like, "Oh my god, like this guy, he's got all these followers and he's getting Babel. What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I worry about the reception that it's going to be by taking quite a strange move. So then I'll just go for every game week. There's always like an obvious pick that everyone seems to gravitate towards, and 90% of the time the obvious pick is the right one, but sometimes it's not, and I just worry about what people think then. So I definitely make different moves because I'm worried what other people think. So definitely play differently, and the more views you get, the more worried you get about that.
Yeah.
You should come into my comments. I keep getting propositioned in my comments recently.
Yeah, just actually.
Keep getting spammed at the moment.
Stephen said, Kurt, shark. He's not bothered. Okay. Kurt, what about you? Would you? Yeah, he wouldn't play FPL any differently than what he does now. I can't answer for him. I think that's it, guys. I think we'll have to wrap up the stream. We've gone way longer than we anticipated, but we will definitely be back next week. So I'll hand you over to Jay to wrap up the stream. Hopefully Kurt's still okay. Kurt, you okay, buddy? Just tell the people. Cool.
That'll do. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you have enjoyed the content, you can add to the 62 likes that we have managed to get on this stream.
63.
Mine's saying 62, and I'm the one with the proper stream stuff. Anyway, if you do want to know the next time we are going live, do follow us on Twitter. That's where we will announce the next live stream, so you can come and join us and ask more FPL questions. Also, follow us on Instagram as well. And we do have a Twitch channel. We have been playing pro clubs on it recently, so go and check that out. It's the WildCats over on twitch.tv, so check that out. And with that being said, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.